Well, hello all again, or good morning from Northern Ireland. The snow is coming down. It's been a couple of 3 weeks since we recorded, and I have been very much feeling the effects of the waves of the acceleration of the cosmic energy sweeping the planet. And my head just wasn't functioning. So whilst we have to coexist with this world and the earth that we are incarnated on, residing on, because we are made of the earth and we are also electromagnetic beings, as the earth is going through these changes, so are we. So we'll share a little bit more about that as we go on here, but I'm very aware that other people have been feeling the same thing, and many are experiencing weird and strange symptoms, which are known as ascension process symptoms. So today I'm going to endeavour to share what has been downloaded to me in the recent days and the last couple of weeks. So I've been predominantly in a kind of a wiped out space, spaced out, and for those of you who know me, that's more spaced out than normal. Anyway, we shall do our best to share these things. Because we haven't recorded for a couple of weeks, in actual fact I think it's 3 weeks, maybe, I don't know, it's 4 weeks. What's time anyway? The way my head has been this past while, it's like time has stopped, and you know, maybe that's what's happening. Time may be just stopping. So that's a hint, perhaps, as to what could be happening. The world as we know it is certainly gone through unprecedented challenges. The human being as we know it, or have come to understand it, is going through unprecedented change and challenges. And they're connected, absolutely connected. Well, what I have been feeling is that we are literally losing our minds. Literally losing our minds. And what I mean by that, the mind, ego mind, is given to, excuse me, the ego mind is given to past and future, emotional and mental states. So we are losing that capacity of the ego mind to be in the past or the future, because we are being upgraded effectively to remember what we should have always been, which in actual fact we already are within ourselves. So we are being pushed from within and pulled by this cosmic energy that's sweeping the planet to withdraw from the mind, the ego mind, control of the ego mind, where the ego mind has been running amok in our own lives and the lives of others and the collective, i.e. the world. Where the mind was dictating to the being, and everything and everyone around us was dictated to by the human mind, ego mind. So that's why many of us, as kindred spirits, as like minds, have been through our personal breakdowns. And for those of you who are regulars on here, if you go back to my original videos, some of my earlier videos, and in fact maybe I think on the previous one we discussed the 5 stages of what I feel the ascension process. And I'll just give a quick recap on what the ascension process actually is. But the ascension process, I feel, has 5 stages. Amnesia, totally forgot who we are, and went up into the mind. The breaking down of the ego mind, in other words, our world falling apart. Breakdown of whatever. The awakening. And the awakening stage has been the absolute return of nirvana for those of us who have reached that. The breakthrough is more of nirvana, where we have remembered who we are, what we are, and why we are here. And then the 5th is enlightenment. In light, in mind. Where the light of consciousness has penetrated the dark of the mind. The fear, as we know, fear and dark are the one vibration. So the fearful ego mind, the separated mind, has been, if you like, returned to its original reason for its existence. Because there's nothing wrong with the ego when the ego is directed by the soul and the heart. In other words, the ego mind, lower self, directed by the higher self, the soul and the heart, or the I am that is within, and the two become one. And for me, that's a stage of enlightenment. In light, in mind. Enlightenment. In light, in mind. Where the mind effectively becomes dissolved or absorbed into the inner consciousness, the true consciousness, true awareness of who we actually are. So that's the ascension process. Why the ascension process? Just a very quick recap. Well, we forgot who we actually are. So the ascension process is essentially reminding us, bringing us through experiences to help us remember who we truly are. Not us just as individuals, but the collective. So what I mean by the collective actually is 7 billion souls on this planet are all going to go through this. At this point in time, you know, those of us who have been on this path for a while, maybe 20, 30 years, more or less, as I said, have been through the personal breakdowns, the personal awakening. And the breakdowns were essentially wake-up calls. That's what they were. You know, if we're fast asleep, We need a very rude awakening. And that rude awakening is breakdowns. The breakdowns are blessings in disguise. Our soul will allow the ego, give it enough rope. My father used to say, give it enough rope, he'll hang himself. That's exactly what happened to me. So, we're so up our own whatever, ego on steroids, we're totally unaware of who we are. Fast asleep to the truth of who we are. Then we need the waking up. Nightmare experiences, breakdowns, which bring us through to awakening. Okay, it's just coming up 11 minutes. Interestingly enough, today is the 11th of February. So it's now 11 minutes into a recording. So those of you who are aware of what we do here as a support group, as a kindred spirit get together, or as a kindred spirit forum to help ourselves and each other on this ascension process and to go on to this stage of enlightenment, so that we can, in this process, help other people, because that's why we're here. It's just not for ourselves, it's to take other people by the hand, those who are ready, by the way, only those who are ready. Okay, so what we're going to do our relax I am within. And what this is a very, very simple exercise, but an incredibly powerful, very poignant exercise, which balances the left and the right brain, the male and the female within ourselves, and the head with the heart, the ego with the soul. So, very simple exercise, excuse me, and we're going to do this together. So it involves taking a deep breath in through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. So the I am consciousness of light, in through the nose, into the being, and imagine it penetrating our entire being, and then exhaling the I am consciousness. So I am comes in and the I am comes out. In other words, it's a constant flowing of the I am consciousness. That's what breath actually is. And the name, the word for breath in another language is spiritus. So hence the respiratory system, where we get our inspiration from and where we aspire to do this or that, or be this or that. Okay, so it's 3 deep breaths, and we repeat the words relax, I am within. So the first breath, it's in through the nose and the word relax 3 or 4 times. The next breath, I am 3 or 4 times, and then the next breath, within. It takes about 30 seconds, and we don't even have to close our eyes. So let's do this. Relax, relax, relax. I am, I am, I am, I am. Within, 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 within. Relax, I am within. Okay. Just breathe that in, that just beautiful serenity, balance between our inner selves and our external selves, becoming the one self. Do you know, this is coming to my mind when we're doing that, what the Creator actually said when it created the human being, or it created which actually it wasn't a human being. It was a Christ conscious being, I feel, where the human aspect was controlled and directed and run by the I am that is within, which is the Christ. So what Source actually said when it created that Christed being, a spiritual being here on planet Earth having a human experience, is our what we're supposed to be, and that's where we are returning to. So what Source actually said, it breathed the breath of life into the nostrils of man or mankind, and it became a living soul. We all know that whenever we've been in fear or subject to fear or anxiety or stress, we don't breathe properly. We probably at maximum use the top 20% of our lungs. So we're in a state of dis-ease. So that little exercise that we just did is incredibly powerful. It's like a reminder, literally, a reminder to return to the truth of who we are. We are a soul and a heart expressed through the mind and the body. That's what we're supposed to be. A soul and a heart expressed through the mind and the body. Okay, so ascension process, we are returning back to that consciousness. That's exactly what's happening. We are returning back to that consciousness. Out of 3D in preparation for 5th dimensional consciousness. So the human being, just very quickly, I'm going to do a quick recap and then we're going to get on into more of the information that we'd like to share. The human being, in actual fact, the human aspect is the mind. So the mind was controlling the being. So the human mind was controlling the spiritual being. But we become so disjointed and disconnected from our true essence. We weren't human beings. We were humans, not being. We were human doings, doing human. Human doings, doing that which our altered ego, mind-controlled state wanted to do, which was absolute chaos for ourselves and others around us. So we weren't even human beings. We were human doings, doing that which the altered ego thought was right. So that's the 3D. And the collective then, when everybody in the world or everybody on the surface of the planet Earth was doing that, that became the world. So the world is the consciousness of the human mind. Is it any wonder it's up? So the Earth's had enough. And the spirit of humanity has had enough. Which is bringing about, and Source has had enough. The I am in you and the I am in me has had enough. The I am that is within the planet. The I am that runs the universe. The I am is sending these cosmic waves of energy to bring us to our senses. To wake up. The time has come to remember who you truly are, what you truly are, and why you are here. Ascension process. So as these waves of light are sweeping the planet, they're sweeping us, Sweeping what? Sweeping away the toxicity of the emotional and mental state that has been impacted so much on our consciousness, not only in this lifetime, but all the other lifetimes, and of course all our forebears, because they had, you know, for I don't know, many thousands of years that we've been on this planet. Quite frankly, it doesn't matter. Not particularly interested in the history, apart from doing what's necessary to clean it up and to be here now. You know, the human wasn't being at all. It was wasing or will being. It was either over in the past with the regrets and all the unforgiveness and all that stuff. Human emotions relative to past, and human emotions relative to future. It's called fear and anxiety, stress. So emotional and mental disorders, so out of whack that it affected our physical bodies, and our physical bodies then began to manifest physical disease. So emotional and mental disease manifested as physical disease. You may recall in our previous video, or a previous video, we talked about the I am diagram. Well, you can refer back to that and have a look at what we were talking about. But essentially, the inner part of that diagram was covered up with stuff, conditioning and programming. Conditioning and programming that was impacted upon us on a conscious and a subconscious level. Subconsciously through our genetic coding, subconsciously through programming from our forebears, what they were subjected to. So then we inherited that in our genes, and from whatever other sources. So at a subconscious level, and we know that the subconscious mind is 90% of our thought processes are subconscious. Only 10% is conscious. So that's like the iceberg. 90% of our thoughts are at a subconscious or at an unconscious level. And that's why many of us in the past actually had behavioral patterns. Why many people are actually having behavioral patterns, self-sabotage, sabotaging the self. And we wonder, why were we doing that? Subconscious, that's what it was. Okay, so let's move forward. So that little breathing exercise is like an awake state of meditation, and it balances the left and the right brain, our male and female selves, and brings us into the alpha state. And the alpha state is the child state of consciousness. For we as adults, actually, the only time we were in it actually was when we were going down into sleep or coming out of sleep. But the child actually remains in the alpha state, but is programmed out of it by fear and control, programming, education, church, whatever else. And then we go up into the left brain completely, and the first and second chakra only operational, and the other chakras, the other 5 chakras, cut off. Living in fear, not breathing properly. So over a process of time, through using that breathing exercise and applying it in our meditation and then our daily living, conscious breathing, in other words, breathing consciously, breathing in consciousness is what I mean by conscious breathing and breathing consciously. Breathing in the love and light and the truth of who we are. You know, without breath, we're dead. Stop breathing for 3 minutes and see what happens to us. So let's breathe consciously. Breathe with the intention of empowering ourselves, of reinvigorating ourselves, of being inspired, of aspiring to be and to do that we're supposed to be and do, and make sure that our doing is relative to our being. So we're shifting from being humans to being human. So from human doings to human beings, or being human. So what do I mean by that? Being is our natural state, our eternal, infinite state, soul. Being is present. So when the human was disconnected from being, it was in the past and future. It's not possible for the mind, the human mind, to be present. It's not possible. Because it is programmed to be in the past or the future, fluctuating 60,000 thoughts per day, apparently, in and around. Some have more, some have less, but on average 60,000 thoughts per day. And the vast majority, if not all of those thoughts, are either in the past or the future. Is it any wonder people get tired because they're continually going from past to the future? I did. And those of you who know me very, very well, if you visited my site. I had ME, or chronic fatigue. Acute nervous exhaustion. In actual fact, there was no such thing as ME when I had it back in 1990. When I was 28, total collapse. Emotional and mental and physical health breakdown. Financial breakdown. Business breakdown. It was all breakdown. Why? Because my ego mind that was running amok in my own life and others around me. Personality on steroids is what I called it. Caught up in the physical appearance of my body. I mean, I was bodybuilding and on the verge of going into competition bodybuilding. You know why? What's all that about? Listen, it's great in its place when the body is used as an expression, as a tool, for an expression of the soul and the heart. And then the mind, loads of personal growth and development. Well, personal growth and development is personality growth and development. Great in its place. Absolutely great in its place. NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Did a bit of that. All good stuff. Great in its place. What do I mean by great in its place? Great when it's directed from the I am consciousness that is within. Great when it is in harmony with our soul. And the soul and the heart is running the mind and the body. I.e. the soul and the heart, our true essence, our I amness, our beingness is running our mind, our emotional and mental state, and our body. So now we're in harmony. So we have the soul, heart, mind, and body operating in harmony. Where we were as a human doing, or a doing human, was body, mind, emotional and mental state, personality, and a body. So we had a personality, a mind, and a body. That's it. Cut off from our true essence, soul and heart. So now we're integrating the lot. And these cosmic waves that are sweeping the planet are sweeping us, sweeping away the toxicity in the mind and the body, sweeping away the toxicity in the mind and the body. That's what the chest infections, not chest infections at all, chest detoxification. Many people are having that. Many people are dying from it, actually, unfortunately. But it's okay, because the soul never dies. So those people who are passing over, and it is happening, please be aware that it is happening, that these cosmic waves are so intense that some human doings, or some human beings, or endeavoring to be human, can't cope with the light, the absolute power of these waves that are coming. So they're literally taking people off the planet. But it's okay. I don't mean to be disrespectful in any way, for the loss of loved ones. Please. It's not what I mean. What I'm saying is that we are immortal beings when we remember who we truly actually are. We are a soul and a heart. We are a being. that can never die. So those people who have left the planet, or who leave the planet, return in another incarnation to get sorted. The only reason why we ever come to this planet, whether it be one lifetime or umpteen, is to remember who we are, what we are, and why we're here. And who are we? We are the express image of the source that created us. In other words, let us create mankind in our image, which is the image of love and light. That's who we are. What are we? We are an eternal, infinite being. So, that's what we are. So who we are is the express image of the I Am presence that created us, which is love and light. So we are love and light beings. That's our true essence. So we're in the process of remembering that. And the human aspect is coming into harmony with our being, our spiritual being, our infinite and eternal being. That's exactly what's going on. So the human is coming into alignment. And the human body then is being realigned. Literally realigned. We've touched in previous videos about the chakra system. Many of you actually on here are aware of the chakra system. But for perhaps those who haven't yet heard of it, or I'll just a little about the chakra system. The chakra system is essentially the 7 energy centers. There's a number more, but principally there are 7 energy centers in this body. It was created like this. And the 7 energy centers are base chakra, sacral, around your belly button area, which is called the solar plexus, heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye, and crown. And interestingly enough, the colors of those energy centers are the colors of the rainbow. Amazing, isn't it? The human was stuck in left brain with the first and second chakra only operational, i.e. it was in survival mode and getting us kicks from addictions. My addiction was business, and I had a fair smattering of addiction to the opposite sex. It's okay in its place. But what I was doing was I was trying to satisfy the void that was within with business, money, chasing externals, having the perfect body, being more attractive to the opposite sex. And if you don't mind me saying, I was probably like most young men. I wouldn't say I was a predator, but maybe we all are to some degree, a greater or lesser degree. It would have been, if I didn't connect with a lady, and she had to be beautiful, of course. She had to be, whenever I went out, had to be the best looking girl. And those of you who know me know that that was the way it was. Why? What was that about? Because my self-worth and my self-confidence and my self-respect, my self-confidence, my self-esteem required somebody very good looking to be on my arm so that I felt better about me. And I mean me. I felt better about me. The head, the personality. So, moving on. When we lose our emotional and our mental and physical energy to operate business, to operate relationships, to operate making money. When we are literally taken off our feet for a few years. That's what happened to me. We got lots of time for the soul to start talking. That still small voice. Why is it called a still small voice? Because it's still. It's being still. So my mind, from running from the past to the future, I'm totally focused on creating a better future for myself. But it was like a mirage. The more I chased, the further away the mirage got, until I ran out of energy at age 28. And for the next 7 years, it was like in a wilderness. But at age 35, thankfully, I discovered how to be still and know that I am. That's it. And that's now 20 years ago. Okay. So that brings me to the next point. Who are we? What are we? What I would like to actually remind ourselves, for those of us who are on this ascension process, who've been on it for a considerable length of time. And by the way, there's no difference between someone starting and someone actually well into the process, whether they're actually in the awakening or in the breakdown or are reaching that stage of enlightenment. We're all on the same journey. What's the journey? The journey is the journey home to remembering who we are. The journey out of this into this, and then the integration of everything. So the chakras: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, and indigo. The colors of the rainbow. That's the colors of the light spectrum. The visible light spectrum. In other words, light beings. That's the essence of who we are. So all these chakras and meridians are all being realigned, and these cosmic waves are sweeping us, cleaning out the toxicity. Light penetrating the dark. Love penetrating the fear. The fearful mind is being brought into subjection and into harmony with the soul and the heart, which is love and light being. So we are now we are becoming spiritual beings, remembering what we are, which is a spiritual being here on planet Earth, having a human experience. So we're shifting from a human doing or doing human to a spiritual being here on planet Earth having a human experience. That's the ascension process. And that's exactly the way we were created. We were created like that. And that's what these chakras are all about. We've got these energy centers in our body which are absolutely invigorated and brought into alignment through the stilling of the mind, through breathing. As Source said, breathing in the breath of life, and man became a living soul. The human doing was a dead soul. I was a dead soul. I had a soul, but it was covered up with so much crap and so much stuff. And the more I tried to assuage this feeling of separation and this void in chasing doing this and doing that and doing the other, the more doing I did, the less energy I had to do, until I crashed. Best thing ever happened. Because then I had time to reflect, literally, and time for my inner self to come through to my outer self, so that I would become then, in the process of becoming not two selves, lower self, higher self, or inner self and outer self, one self, where the I am within runs the mind, and there's no more civil war between the ego and the soul. And just on that point, during this awakening process, some of us actually may have been experiencing this. And those who are coming out of breakdown and going into awakening. The awakening, actually, you will find, as I found, a civil war. Soul has been held in subjection. The soul, our own soul and our own heart. We are so caught up with doing and the human aspect of our lives. The ego was in complete control. Call it an altered ego. The altered ego was so in control, it had built a wall around the heart. Love couldn't flow in and love couldn't flow out. Why? Because the ego has to have control. And the ego is fear. So when the fearful ego realizes, being has wakened up. Being is now has awakened. Soul and heart, oh my goodness. Love and light is now coming into this body that I have, this being that I've been controlling for all this life, or indeed all these other lives. Civil war between the ego mind and the inner self. Yeah. So the more we meditate and the more we breathe consciously and the more time we spend in nature and the more time we actually follow our intuition. And what is our intuition? Our intuition is, you've heard me say it many times before, follow the heart and listen to the gut feeling. Now, how can we follow the heart if the heart chakra is closed? So the first chakra that needs to open is the heart. It's the center one. You know, we've got 3 below it and 3 above it. It's the engine room. So when the love center, folks, is so simple. When the love center opens, the love starts to shake the other chakras awake. And then the third eye opens. And that's the light. The light of consciousness comes in through here. So the heart chakra and then the third eye. And they start working. The love and light starts working. Starts kicking out the toxins, emotional and mental and physical toxins. So it's a work in progress, literally a work in progress. The awakening, the middle stage of what I feel is the middle stage of the ascension. Amnesia, breakdown, awakening, breakthrough, then enlightenment. Okay. So that which we have been going through as individuals and are going through as individuals is now starting to happen in the world. The collective consciousness is now starting the breakdown process. How do we know that? Look around. Everything is breaking down. Why? Because it has to. The earth is tired of the world. The same as your soul and my soul was tired of the ego mind. And the ego mind, past and future. What's that? That's called time. And that's why many of us are feeling we've lost track of time. Because we're meant to. Time is of the mind. Emotions and mental thoughts are all mind things. So we're shifting from mind to intuition. No more thinking, folks. We're moving from thinking to feeling. Our intention, heart and gut together. Heart is feeling, desire. Gut feeling, solar plexus, is will. So when we put feeling and will together, we put the heart and the solar plexus together, that's intention. Our intuition, our inspiration. So when we follow, when the mind eventually realizes that which is best for the soul and the heart and the body, because the poor body's been caught up in civil war. Any wonder we manifested diseases? Because we had all this disease going on, unforgiveness and regret, crap from the past, and fears about what's going to happen in the future, which maybe never ever will. Fear, false evidence appearing real, and if it appears real, it paralyzes. Analyze to your power. That's an interesting word, by the way. It's amazing what comes to us in our meditation. Analyze, analyzed, to we're paralyzed. Left brain so far up, you know what? Paralyzed, paralyzes. So too much analytical left brain stuff paralyzes the right brain creative, paralyzes the intuition. I think it's very interesting, Wes. It's actually called the analytical brain. It should be analytical brain, because that's what it is. Maybe that's why people said used to say to me, "You're full of." Moving swiftly on. Okay, so the mind becoming in harmony with the soul and the heart. What does that mean? That means our intention is directing our attention. Our attention is now given to our intention. So now the mind and the body are willing servants, absolutely willing servants to the being, the soul and the heart. So the spiritual being is now directing the human experience on planet Earth. That's why many of us have had to remove ourselves or reduce our activity in conventional business and conventional living, relationships, etc., 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 etc. Anything that was of the human doing, the mind control, either us controlling or being controlled, somebody else's puppet on their string, making money for somebody else or making money for ourselves, accumulating, trying to fill the insatiable void with things and stuff, materialism and people outside ourselves, trying to make ourselves feel better. Impossible. Could never happen until we return to here. Okay, so that's what's been happening for us. Now what's happening? We had our personal breakdowns. The light workers and light warriors. The first wavers are light warriors, I feel. The second wavers, all equally important. The light workers are like avatars. The light warriors, avatars. They come from somewhere else. That's why many of us never fitted in here. We felt round peg, square hole stuff. Never fitted in. Yeah, because we're here for a purpose. So we came into an upside down world, a have, do, be world. What does that mean? A have, do, be world basically means that we're programmed by the system that says when you have the first, second and third level education, and you have the degree, and you have the job, and you have the business, and you have the wife, or you have the husband, and you're doing and doing and doing from early morning to late evening, and maybe there's children, and there's so much doing in the life that the children maybe get half an hour a day. Why have children, huh? Interesting. But that's the system that we were subjected to. Human doings, doing human. So we had to have that broken down out of us. So we had our personal breakdowns. Okay, here's the crunch. Now what's happening is the collective breakdown. Please, please, please understand what's happening. It's so simple. It is so simple. When we tune into ourselves, we know it's happening. We know why it's happening, because it has to happen. The light of consciousness is sweeping away the mind-created world from its surface. The earth is getting rid of the world from its surface. So all the mind, the man-made constructs, the ego mind, separated consciousness, the separated mind, all that stuff has got to be removed or come into harmony with the heart. So the altered ego mind created and the altered ego mind controlled systems, institutions, organizations, churches, governments, banking system, financial system, every system that comes from man's mind has got to change from fear to love or leave. It's that simple. So that which is happening for us as individuals is now already started to happen for the collective. It's the breaking down of the world. There's another term for it, which we are very aware of. We've heard a lot about it from the Christian tradition, end of the world. Yeah, of course. It's the end of the man's mind created world. Has to happen. Do you remember, those of you from a Christian tradition, what Christ said? And from a Christian tradition, you may be familiar with a thing called the Lord's Prayer. Well, Christ actually uttered the words. Well, they were uttered in Aramaic, but translated into the English says, "Thy will be done in earth." It's actually in earth is the translation. As it is in heaven. So in our earthen bodies, in these bodies that are made of earth, wind, water, and fire, the four elements, earth, wind, water, and fire. And then when we breathe the ether in through our nose, ether is I am consciousness. When we breathe the I am consciousness, we become living beings. Earth, wind, water, and fire plus ether is a living, conscious being. Being, conscious, love and light, being, love and light. That's all that's going to be on this planet. So we can assist the process. And this is why I really wanted to share this with fellow light workers and light warriors. Our time has come, folks, to be who we are, to be what we are, and to be why we're here. To be doing that which is relative to our being. In other words, our doing has got to be an expression of our being. That which we're doing with our lives has got to be now an expression of our soul and our heart. Following our intuition, every aspect of our lives has got to now be an expression of the truth of who we are. There is no more time for faffing about. That which I'm saying to us all, I'm saying to myself. I'm saying to my ego, lower self. So what am I really getting at? What I'm getting at actually is, as the collective are starting to break down, the collective, people are going through these incredible ascension process symptoms and they have no notion of what's going on with them. But you and I know. Well, why do you feel that we were extricated from the system to be on the ascension process, to be aware of what it is, to have, to a considerable degree, or at least in the process of sorting ourselves out? Why? Because we are way showers. That the G-U-R-U, the I am in you and the I am in me, is G-U-R-U. So that when we have experienced most of the ascension the ascension process and heading towards enlightenment, we can then take other people whenever they are. Remember this. People have been the critical mass, the mass consciousness, are where we were. That's what makes us all the same. There's no different. 7 billion souls on this planet. 7 billion. Please understand. But the vast majority are where we were. So we're all the same. We're all souls trying to find our way home. Trying to remember who we are, what we are, and why we're here. Okay. So, amnesia. Totally forgotten. But now, the breakdowns are happening. Look at the earth changes. Snow in Algeria, Morocco, and Sahara. And I'm not talking about a few flakes. I'm talking about a foot or two of snow in places. Hello? Unprecedented flooding. Unprecedented heat in Australia. Weather pattern changes. All part of the process, folks. Please understand that the earth is going through its cleansing process. The same as you and I are. So let me put that another way. You and I are going through exactly the same process that the earth is going through in preparation to rid itself from the unconscious aspect of the human mind. To get rid of the world. That's what it's doing. And that's what the man-made, literally, vast majority have been literally man-made. Left brain. Males on steroids. Egomaniacs. As I was. Until the breakdown. So, the collective are now going through the start of the breakdown. The financial system. The stock market. What happened to it in the last week, huh? Yeah, I know it is at 27,000 points. The Dow was at 27. Yeah, it's twice what it was 10 years ago. Okay. Maybe it's just a flash. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Could we be heading for another major financial crash? The mother of all crashes. If it doesn't happen soon, it's going to happen. Because it's all a man-made creation. That's why. Look at nature. Does nature actually have to have money? Does nature actually have to work? That's the way we were before we fell from grace. We were living in perfect harmony with nature, as everything else is. That's what's happening. So all the fear aspect and control aspect is going to be removed from the world. Sorry, going to be removed from the surface of the earth, and a new world. A new earth, surface of the earth. It's coming to my mind during the week, the last week or so actually. Words of what Christ said again. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. I wonder who the meek are, huh? Oh, here's what I feel. Spiritual beings here on planet Earth having a human experience. That's who's inheriting the earth. And that's open to us all. Every one of us. If every one of us, 7 billion souls on this planet, remember that we are a soul with a heart, with a mind and a body. And the mind and the body is to be used in expression for the soul and the heart. When we remember who we are, and the quicker we do this, the quicker we will have peace, love and harmony on the external of the earth. But it'll never happen on the external until it happens on the internal. And that's why Christ actually said, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Because it'll never be done on the surface of the earth i.e. collective humanity, until it's done within you and I. Enough of us. When enough of us actually have it, then it'll all happen. We're responsible, folks. We are very responsible. I mean, first of all, responsible to ourselves. Able to respond to who? Able to respond to our inner true selves. Mind responding to the inner intuition, the intention directing the attention. Can you imagine what it's going to be like? Can you imagine what it's going to be like? Isn't it very interesting that John Lennon called his song Imagine? Can you imagine what it's going to be like? Let's imagine it right now. You know, it was on my mind in the last week or two as well. We'll never have peace of mind until we have inner peace. There'll never be peace in this world until we have inner peace. How do we get it? Remember who we are, what we are, and why we're here. We are love and light beings. Being love and light. Doing love and light actions. Loving actions. Coming from our being. Being in love. How can we love another? How can we love others, as Christ actually said? Love thy neighbour as thyself. How can we love others and care for others and nurture everything the way we're meant to? Unless we love ourselves. So where does it start? Charity begins where? At home. And home is where the heart is. And that's it. So when we love ourselves, our true selves, and have the ego in its place, please understand the conscious mind, 10%, and the inner conscious, when all that crap is kicked out, sterilized, cleansed by the light, expelling the dark, the love expelling the fear, the love expelling the fear, the light expelling the dark, then we're in harmony. The mind at one with the soul and the heart as an expression. So our doing is an expression of our being. Spiritual beings here on planet Earth having a human being experience. A lot more to share. It's not going to be today. It's just gone the hour. It's been an honor and a privilege again. I want to thank, when I'm on here, it's such an honor and a privilege to do these. Because these are my words, as you know. And to connect with kindred spirits, like minds, fellow light workers and light warriors, who are in the process of remembering, or who have remembered, or who are very much assisting other people now. This is our time, folks. You are the light of the world. That's what Christ said. You are the light of the world. The world is in a dark place, has been in a dark place for goodness knows aeons, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years, if not millions of years. Dark place. We've come here to be what we are, love and light beings, being love and light. So let's do it. This is what Christ said. You're the light of the world. You're like a city that's set on a hill. Please remember, please be responsible, that we are the light of the world. And we should honor ourselves and look after ourselves and take care of ourselves on all levels. Spirit, heart, mind and body. Soul, heart, mind and body. Taking care of ourselves so that we can then take care of others. How can we take care of others until we take care of ourselves? Huh? Charity begins at home. So we've got to look after ourselves. Protect ourselves. So I'm going to finish with this. You may have noticed actually on some of my posts, I've said stay 24/7, connected, directed, and protected. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, staying connected. And when we have that 24/7 connection, because when we're a soul, we're not only 24/7, we're eternal. So when we're listening to our inner self, our soul and our heart, and listening to our intuition, our inspiration, that's the direction. And because we are a love and light being love and light, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that's our intention, and we give our attention to that focus. We're focused on that. And every conscious breath is literally a reminder of staying 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, connected, directed, and protected. The protection. Do you know, fear has absolutely no impact on love when we stay in love. Please, let's understand that. Dark has absolutely no impact on us when we stay in the light. What I'm saying to everyone, I'm saying to myself. So let's all, please, stay connected, directed, and protected 24/7. That's always. And to help us with that, it's like being in a conscious state of meditation, conscious state of connection. No more, no less than the trees and our unconditional love with a tail called a dog or cat. Constant state of connection. Everything in nature is continuously 24/7 connected, directed, and protected. Because Source is taking care of it. And take care of us as well whenever we stay connected. Remember to breathe. Staying connected, directed, protected, breathing consciously. It's been a pleasure and an honor to share today. I'll record another one maybe later on some practical stuff to assist us. Because we're the meek. We're meant to look after ourselves. Because if we don't, we won't inherit the earth. And that's not why we do it, by the way. We do it because we've come here for a purpose. To be love. To be light. As way showers. Get ourselves sorted out first, then help others. That's what it's all about. So, once again, thank you. Have a beautiful, beautiful Sunday, or Saturday, or Monday, wherever you happen to be in the world. Staying in a state of gratitude. Attitude of gratitude. Thank you. Namaste.